Now with episode 1, that was kind of like a reintroduction with the X-Men, getting the audience acclimated to the dynamics of the team and who the leader is and how they do things in terms of missions and training and whatnot. But with episode 2, it was like, okay, y'all already know who the X-Men are. Let's get into the So with that being said, let's dive right in. X-Men 97, episode 2 review. And look at my X-Men shirt. Theme song. At the end of episode 1, it was revealed that Charles Xavier left Magneto to be the headmaster of the Xavier Institute in his will. And I imagine for a lot of people who are not X-Men diehard comic book readers, them seeing Magneto be a part of the X-Men is like, where did that come from? So the episode opens up, it shows Magneto rescuing a child that's getting ready to fall off a Ferris wheel. And then it shows Magneto rescuing a mutant underground community known as the Morlocks, saving them from the Friends of Humanity, who we established are an anti-mutant, bigoted, racist group that cannot stand all mutants. So the whole entire world, they're reacting to Magneto rescuing people, becoming a hero because they're so used to Magneto being a villain and a mutant terrorist. So then we see the X-Men, they're at a roundtable discussion and they're giving their thoughts on Magneto now going to be the headmaster of the Institute, and now he's going to be the main leader of the X-Men. So everybody's voicing their opinions. We see a very, very, very interesting take with Rogue.
Maybe we should take a page from the professor's playbook and give Eric a second shot.
You saw Gambit's face after she said that. And so then we see Magneto walk in, and obviously the conversation goes from 0 to 10. Everybody is voicing their opinions about how they feel about Magneto being there.
Let Jean scan your mind. See your real plan.
You have been our fiercest foe for years. A desire for you to prove yourself is only natural.
My only criticism with this is we saw Scott. Scott was going in.
We check every minute of every day.
He was providing a lot of opposition, which is valid because y'all have to understand, Scott has been fighting Magneto since he was a teenage boy. So in his mind, it's like Magneto is the #1 enemy of the X-Men forever and always. My only criticism about this scene is we did not see a lot of opposition from Wolverine, which it's in his personality to be speaking out on things that he does not agree with. Like Wolverine does not hold his tongue, as we saw in the very first episode when he disagreed with Scott's order.
I don't much go in for being bossed around.
So I was expecting Wolverine to be a little bit more vocal in the scene. Another reason why I'm pointing this out is for a scene that plays out later on in the season. I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I would have loved for Wolverine to be a little bit more vocal about Magneto joining the X-Men, but we didn't get that. So let's move on.
Thank you, Storm. Boy, do I sound like a fool.
No, Jean. You sound like a mother.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is literally like the only show, series, any type of X-Men media outside the comics where the sisterhood between Jean and Storm is prioritized, you know? They have a true, genuine bond, and it was just so beautiful to see that play out on screen. Finally, that's never happened before, but yes, Jean and Storm, they're like this, and it was so beautiful to watch. Then we move on to Rogue and Magneto. I don't even know how I want to navigate this conversation. Okay, so Rogue visit Magneto and she's just like, listen, if you want the X-Men to trust you, you have to demonstrate the trust and not demand it. Then Magneto is kind of like pulling off her glove on her hand saying like, you know, what if the X-Men found out about us? And I'm like, us?
That was a long time ago, Eric. And that cat's gotta stay in its bag. You hear me?
So this scene is pretty much implying that Rogue and Magneto, they've had a past.
Ew.
Let's just be clear about something. Number one, X-Men 97 is an adaptation of the comics, okay? It is not showcasing 100% accuracy of what goes down in the comic books. This is an adaptation for a television show. So they're going to pull from things of the source material to apply it on screen. Now, again, because I know I'm Team Gambit and Team Rogue. All right. Magneto and Rogue, they do have a relationship. However, the relationship take place in an alternate timeline for y'all multiverse fandoms out there. It's an alternate timeline and it's called the Age of Apocalypse. So in this Age of Apocalypse storyline, Xavier is killed. Magneto is the one that establishes and creates the X-Men. Him and Rogue are together. So that's an element that they pulled from an alternate timeline to apply to this show.
Clap if you care.
Now, in the main universe of the X-Men, I believe it's Earth 616, there is an implication that Rogue has an attraction to Magneto, but it's quickly cut short because she witnesses Magneto murder this other mutant. Her name is Zaladane, and they're in the Savage Land. So there was a little something there. But as soon as Rogue saw Magneto murder Zaladane, she was like, oh no, I'm out. Like, I can't do this. Like, why did I think I can even change anything about you? So that is, their comic accurate history. So again, I'm not really a fan of Magneto and Rogue having any type of connection, anything. I'm always going to be Gambit and Rogue, but for the sake of this show and for the sake of the drama, bring it on. So then in that scene, we see Valerie Cooper and an army of guys with guns, and they are outside trying to arrest Magneto. Magneto shows off his powers, saying, okay, you have your anti-electromagnetic weapons, and I have your helicopter.
I should have thought twice.
So basically the whole purpose of arresting Magneto and bringing him to trial, he was known as a villain towards the rest of the world. So they're seeing him join the X-Men, and it's just like, you think that joining the X-Men is going to 100% erase your history of causing destruction in our country? Not going to fly. So that's how we got the trial of Magneto, which is another storyline that took place in the comics. I really love how the writers are pulling storylines from the source material. I really love the voice actor of Magneto. I love how Magneto is written, because as he's standing there pleading his case, the vocabulary, the diction, the words that he's using, this sounds like I'm reading Magneto in a comic book.
Your soundbite indignation will not heal mutant wounds. You build robots to hunt us, collars to chain our power. That is extermination.
He is saying exactly what a Magneto portrayal would say. Like, this is extremely accurate. So as Magneto is putting his case, his testimony gets interrupted. Somebody is trying to break in. It is the anti-mutant group, the Friends of Humanity, trying to cause an insurrection. See, this is why a lot of people think the X-Men are woke, because have we not seen an insurrection in our beautiful, lovely United States government?
They must want Magneto.
And the judges, ma'am.
What in the blazes did we do?
You gave a monster a trial. Oh, to play by the rules, and still they come for you.
If you cannot see the clear-cut connection between the X-Men and the real world that is going down in our government, you're just choosing to be ignorant. The X-Men, they're trying to create a barrier between the insurrectionists of the Friends of Humanity versus the judges and Magneto and the police officers, because things are escalating. The X-Men, they have to step into hero mode and protect those who hate and fear them.
You got a name? Executioner.
I just want to say, I hate this fight scene. I hate this fight scene because Gambit could have gone a couple rounds with him. Bishop could have gone a couple rounds with him. It's like, what is going on? The X-Men are being taken out by a human punk bigot? Like, what the? And then to make matters worse, Executioner throws his stick at Scott and knocks his glasses off, and this man is beating the
Know what I hate about your kind? You act like you got it so bad. Normal people have it hard too. Harder.
Executioner is whooping this man so bad you can either see the tears or the spit that is being splattered everywhere coming from Scott. Like, this is so embarrassing. X-Men, what are we doing? Please get your asses back in the danger room, because what the So Morph is going at it with Executioner. Jean contacts Scott using her telepathy. She's saying that she's in labor. Please come to the hospital.
Hang tight, Jenny. Almost there. Almost there.
Scott then calls Storm like, hey, I need to leave. Can you handle this? And it's like, you handle what? Gambit is down, Bishop is down, Beast is down, and Morph is struggling against Executioner, and you just got your ass beat. But yeah, Storm can't handle this because this one guy just took out the entire X-Men team, but you're abandoning ship. Cool.
I need your men stationed at every door. You, Uncaller Magneto, you!
Well, now who does she think she...
Do not think. Be silent, heed my commands, and you shall survive.
Storm is just the best. She immediately just stepped into the leadership role and pretty much told that man, shut your mouth and do as I say, unless you want to die. Simple said, done. The Friends of Humanity, they burst in and they are just shooting at Magneto. Like, it's no questions asked. They are legit firing bullets at Magneto. And it's like, well, damn. Well, damn. Like, forget the innocent bystanders, forget the judges, forget anybody's safeties. They are just firing their weapons full blast at Magneto. And it's like, what is happening? Again, how are you so comfortable in your bigotry and your racism that you would jeopardize the safety of everybody else just to assassinate mutants? So then we see this Omega level team up between Storm and Magneto is so reminiscent of X-Men Red. And I will highly suggest that y'all get into X-Men Red. It's literally like one of the best written X-Men books of all time.
And be caged.
Alright, so then we see, this moment pisses me off because I'm like, why did we do this? Why did we have to go there? Executioner breaks free and he has a big, gigantic gun and he fires the gun at Magneto. Storm sees from a distance what's happening and she flies in to intercept and save Magneto.
What has he done to me?
And I'm sitting here like, why? Why? We just saw Storm being a beast in episode 1. Why did y'all make her lose her powers in episode 2? Why did y'all have to take this route? On the second episode, Storm loses her powers. Now, for those that may not know, Storm actually does loses her powers in the comics, and it literally happens pretty much the same way as you saw on X-Men 97. It's comic accurate, but it's like, why did y'all have to use this? I did not want to see Storm be without powers in this reintroduction of an X-Men series. No. So in reaction to Storm losing her powers, I thought Magneto was going to spaz out and just straight up slaughter everybody in this room. That's what I really thought was about to happen. So he grabs Executioner and then he grabs the judges and he takes them to the Earth's atmosphere.
I am trying to be better. Please, do not make me let you down.
So yeah, I love the scene. Magneto is showing that he's the boss, not only his powers, but his way of thinking. But here's my criticism. We're in episode 2 and it's already too much Magneto. Too much Magneto. Like, Magneto is showcasing his powers on a grand scale. Why didn't we see that with Gambit? Why didn't we see that with Bishop? Why didn't we see that with Cyclops? Why didn't we see that with Storm or Rogue? They utilize this moment to showcase how powerful Magneto is. And it's a good introduction with him joining the X-Men. However, one of my main criticisms on X-Men media, there's too much Magneto and too much Wolverine. Like, if you watch any of the X-Men movies, you're going to see Magneto's powers on full display. Like, he takes up 5 to 10 minutes showcasing how powerful he is. Wolverine is like the main protagonist of the X-Men. Like, he's the main character, even though he's one of the characters that has the least interesting storylines out of everybody else who's a member of the X-Men. So that's my main criticism with this. It's like too much Magneto. And then the cherry on top is y'all took away Storm's power. This is our whole Omega level mutant. So it's like, why? Y'all can't have 2 Omega level mutants on the same team? Like, what's going on? That's just my personal criticism. A little too much Magneto, even though I do like him being on the X-Men. But don't turn this into the Magneto show. Please, let's not. So after the trial, then we see that Beast delivers the news to Storm that she has permanently lost her powers.
The effects appear permanent.
And the most heart gut-wrenching scene is when she's in the bedroom and it is thundering and lightning outside and she is startled by the thunder. So then Storm writes a letter to Jean and Storm leaves the X-Men. And I'm like, okay, hold on. We understand she doesn't have her powers, but why did y'all make her leave the X-Men? This was my very first X-Men comic. And in this issue, Magneto is the headmaster of the X-Men and Storm is the leader of the X-Men and she does not have her powers. So I'm kind of used to Storm being on the X-Men team without any powers. And I feel like that was such a missed opportunity for you guys not to show that. Why did y'all have Storm lead the X-Men? No. And then things get worse. So yeah, Storm writes a letter to Jean. Jean is reading the letter out loud and we're seeing a whole bunch of emotional scenes. We see Rogue and Magneto.
Be heard. Feel another soul finally seeing yours.
And it looks like Rogue and Magneto, I'm gonna just go on and say it looks like they have sex. But another heart-wrenching scene is when Rogue leaves Magneto's room. Gambit is standing outside. He has the Queen of Hearts in his hand. He drops the card and you can see the tears in his eyes.
Only to then sometimes watch it break in a blink that changes your life forever.
This bitch!
What is happening in this episode? Like, what are we doing? You took away Storm's powers and then you're giving Gambit a broken heart. No! These are my 2 favorite X-Men. Like, what is going on? And then to make matters worse, we get a knock at the door. Morph goes and opens the door and we see a red-haired girl and she passes out.
She's back!
Jean? What? Jean?
How in the hell is it 2 Jean Greys? And that is the end of the episode. My thoughts, this was a good, emotionally charged episode. It gave us action, but it gave us drama. Like, it hit us emotionally. It was a big pivot from episode 1. They had their biggest foe, Magneto, join the team. He is shaking up the dynamics. He is ruining relationships and he has replaced an actual X-Men because Storm is no longer on the team. So as I said earlier, I love Magneto being on the team, but my main criticism is it was not enough X-Men being showcased as they was in episode 1. You know, Magneto showcased his powers, you know, his thoughts and how he handles situations, but the X-Men didn't. And when it was time for the X-Men to fight, everybody lost the fight. Morph lost, Beast lost, Gambit lost, Cyclops lost, and now Storm lost, and Storm is no longer on the team. And this was just episode 2. But I loved it.
Oh, you sound like you slow.
I absolutely loved it. Let me know your thoughts on episode 2 in the comment section below. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.